Welcome back to the Newport Gulls pregame show. George Bissell here for the Friday edition of the Front Office Report. And I'm joined by a very special guest. Chuck Paiva has the day off, so I'm joined by Nick Lima, Director of Baseball Operations. Nick, how are you this evening?
I'm doing very well, George. How are you? Filling in for Chuck tonight. He and Pat Sos and Mark Horan, they're all at a Gulls family member's wedding. Mike Melillo, who was our catcher for two seasons. Of course, his brother Jeff played here for a couple of years as well. Both Melillo brothers ended up moving to Newport after their careers here with us. And Mike's getting married tonight. And we wish him the best of luck, and him and his bride. And so with Chuck and Chris down over in Mystic at the wedding, I'm running the show.
Congratulations to the Melillo family, of course, Mike, and it's a present theme with the Gulls. It's a family atmosphere, and often these players come back to Newport, their families, they stay involved with the Gulls. It's always great to see that. So I want to start off with what happened last weekend, of course, Sunday with the AllStar Game here in Newport. How special was that to have this game here in the City by the Sea?
Well, you know, George, anytime you get the entire league down here for a contest like that, we've done it twice before. You know, it's a lot of hard work. There's a reason we only do it once every 5 or 6 years. But it's always something special. When you have 13 teams represented here, the Home Run Derby was a blast. The fans loved it. We had 3,000 people here for the game. Weather held out, went well. The field looked great. Our staff, our interns did a great job getting it ready. Our players did a good job. Steven Scott had a 2-run bomb in the game. We had over 70 scouts here by my count, and there may have been more in the stands I may have missed too. And you know, they got to see some of the top talent in the NECBL, and it was a great job by our staff and by our players who were in the game. And we now get all set for the stretch run here the last couple of weeks.
Absolutely. Only 7 games left in the season. Gulls 3 games out of first place, looking to close the gap here on Mystic, who's really had a great season over in Connecticut. But take me through some of the injuries here. I know there have been a couple of roster decisions that have been made recently and some of the health of some of the players. So what's the latest on the injury front for the Gulls heading into the final stretch here?
Well, George, you mentioned the hunt for the playoffs here. Listen, we always try to get to that standard mark, 25 wins of the season. We're almost there. We got a few more games to go, and we'll see if we get there. If we don't, we're still in a good place right now for postseason play, and that's what we want to get to. We want to get to that second season. If you look at our roster right now, we are fighting some injuries. Gabe Snyder, he was walking around on crutches here the other day. You know, he was having an X-ray done. To look at his foot. We've lost a few guys already. Devin Mann, Kevin Stroshine, Andrew Somerville took a ball to the face the other day. So we're hurting right now. But we also have a lot of guys that are healthy. Everyone's a little beat up. It's baseball. This is grind. You know, this is the grind. They get their long college season. They come here for the summer, and you're playing 44 games in about 50 days. And you know, it's not easy. And you know, we're looking at some options right now, and you know, we have the deadline coming up on Monday. The roster's freeze Monday at midnight, and I'm sure Chuck and Chris, they've been around this league for 30 years between the two of them. They'll bring someone here if there's someone that's going to help the team. They're not going to just bring someone here just to get back to 30 active on the roster. They want to make sure that whoever they do bring in, if they do bring someone in, it's someone that's going to help us win a championship.
Well, there may be some new additions on the horizon. One of the newcomers for this team, Blake Battenfield, has the start tonight out of Oklahoma State. He's been really fantastic for the Gulls. I know he came in around midseason. What are your impressions of him and some of maybe the newer additions on the team this month?
Oh, yeah, Blake's been great. He's been one of a couple of midseason pickups that we've made. We've actually picked up a couple different pitchers, a couple position guys as well. And one of them I also want to mention, Trey Harris. He's done a fantastic job. He's been putting up great numbers. He's been solid defensively. He's coming in to pitch in games that we've been either up big or games that we weren't doing so well in. You know, he's done it all. He's played infield, outfield. As I said, he's pitched a couple of games, and his defense has been sharp, and his offense has been great. And he's great around the dugout too, and helps motivate the team. And you know, sometimes you need a couple more guys to come in mid-year and kind of provide that spark. And Trey and guys like Blake, those are guys that the Gulls needed, and we'll look forward to seeing what they do here in the stretch run.
Speaking of a spark, the Gulls have gone 12-5 in the month of July. What do you attribute that to? Just the typical Gulls run in July every year, or is there something in the water here? What's been going on with this team? Because they've been playing great of late. Well,
you know, George, we always say in this league, June is spring training, July is the season, and you know what the Gulls have done here in July. It's what we always expect them to do. You know, that's when the team starts to gel. That's when they get used to the daily grind. You know, right now, summer camp's all done as of next week. Summer camp is over, so you know we just wrapped up the last day of camp yesterday. So that'll free up some guys. They can rest up a little more in the mornings, and you know, I'm sure they'll appreciate that. But at the same time, we get that home field advantage here at Cardines. A lot of home games, a lot of off days. We've been fortunate. We haven't had many rainouts. We're in a good position right now, and I think the Gulls are primed to maybe make a run for that #1 spot seed. If not, we should be right there at #2. As long as the team keeps it together and does what they're supposed to do. They have to execute, they have to do their jobs, and they have to play good baseball here over the last week. It's not going to be easy. Some tough opponents. Vermont's always a good team. They won the championship last year. Guys like New Bedford, teams like, Gulls are all done against the Waves, but Mystic, and it's a grind. It's a grind, and these last 2 weeks of the season, it's always tough. You've been there before. We've been there. It's playing 6 games.
Plenty of experience.
6 games in 3 days because of rainouts and whatnot. You got to get those games in. Right now, we're not looking at anything like that. There's no makeups in the schedule. There's at least 2 off days a week. So their position, and it's up to the team and up to the players to take advantage of it. I know that's what the coaches are telling them.
Last question tonight, a very special night for the Gulls organization, a tradition. It's the Mark Weed Scholarship Fund at night here at the Gulls. If you could, tell us a little bit about that and what fans should expect to see, because I know from my experience, it's one of the best nights of the year. We have the Gulls organization has a chance to give something back to the community.
Well, Mark Weed passed away from cancer in 2009. He's the late husband of Rhode Island Senate President Teresa Piva Weed. She's the first woman to hold that position in Rhode Island state history. She's been in that position for quite a few years now in her own right. And it was very sad, of course, when our family lost Mark, and he knew just about all of our owners and staff very well. He was a big supporter of the Gulls and our summer camp program as well. And one of his wishes before he passed was to establish some sort of scholarship or some sort of program so that kids who otherwise wouldn't have the opportunity to go to the Gulls summer camps in the summer and have that experience with our players could do so for free. And every year the donations come in. They come in from all over the state, and they bring upwards of 70 or 80 or even 90 kids to attend that Mark Weed camp. It's right in Newport 5th Ward Little League every year. We just had it a couple weeks ago, 4th of July week, and it's always a success. It's always great seeing those kids have that experience that they otherwise wouldn't have. And tonight is about honoring Mark's life and honoring about how his dreams continue to live on through our summer camp program.
Absolutely. It's a tradition unlike any other, and a really proud night for the organization and for this city here in Newport. But Nick Lima, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it, and good luck tonight against Vermont.
Thank you very much, George.
There you have it, Nick Lima joining us on the front office report, Director of Baseball Operations. We'll have more coming your way next on the Newport Gulls pregame show on the NECBL Broadcast Network.